Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a short little knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Kubey KU342A, for the version A of the 342 series. These come in a couple of different configurations. I will try to link them down below so you guys can check them out. I would, while you're there, check out Kubey Knives in general because they have a lot of competitive offerings. If you are new to knives, new to Kubey Knives, check out their other stuff. They have a lot of really competitive stuff just within their own library of knives. Thanks so much to Kubey for sending this in for review. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me, and please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. Let's go ahead and get a measurement of this knife. Overall length is coming in at about 7 1/8, maybe no, it's about 7 on the dot. Blade length just shy of 3 inches. Cutting edge 2.75 inches. Just a couple of size comparisons today up against the Ontario Rat Model 1 and the Ontario Rat Model 2. How about up against the Demco 80-20.5? How about up against the Benchmade Bugout? And finally, let's put it up against the Spyderco Para 3. All right, how's the action on this guy? If you've handled a Kubey, you'll know that the action, or you'll be, I can tell you that the action is very similar to other Kubey knives. It's very good. The thumb stud works properly. The flipper tab works properly. Access to the lock bar is nice. It's carved out. The pivot action is nice and smooth. Just takes a little bit of encouragement to get it down into, down into the closed position. The detent is nice and clicky. And the detent strength is about medium, which works really well for this knife. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. You can see here thickness. Carry profile is what I should have said carry profile. I said length and height and then did something totally different. Carry profile, let's start with thickness. Up against the Spyderco Para 3, you can see here it's a little bit thicker. Length and height now up against the Para 3 and the, where did it go? Am I blind? Yeah, there we go, the PM2. Pretty compact, not a super big knife, just a little bit thicker, right? But in terms of height, you know, Para 3 is still a little bit taller. It's shorter than both horizontally. All right, let's go ahead and do a hardware check. I'm going to get out my tools as per usual. My tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel. The pivot is a T8. And the body screws are going to be T8 as well. The pocket clip screws are T6, no big deal. As long as you've got good tools and a place to put your knife hardware, you should be good to go. Let's go ahead and measure blade stock thickness. I don't know how the calipers got all the way over there, but they always manage to run off right in the middle of the review. Blade stock thickness, I'm going to guess that's 120. Maybe 115. Nope, I should have gone with my original guess, about 120 thousandths. How about weight? What are we looking at for materials? We're looking at, in this case, a natural or a JG10. We have milled out steel liners. And then, for some reason, we have AUS 10A. It says AUS 10. I actually don't know if it's AUS 10A. And the reason that I say that is because a lot of AUS 10 is actually AUS 10A or the annealed version of AUS 10, but they don't bother to put it on there. Some companies will make a big deal out of it as if the annealed version of AUS 10 is some majestically superior version of it, when in reality the actual performance benefits you get from the annealed version versus the standard version are incremental. It's not really that big of a deal, right? So the companies who realize that, they don't bother to put it sometimes, and the companies who, you know, the other companies make a bigger deal out of it so that people will get excited and buy it. I guess I don't really know. It's AUS 10, right? Do with that information what you will. The weight on this knife is coming in at 3.84 ounces, which is not a perfect, the whole an inch of blade to an ounce of weight ratio. It's not perfect, but then again, it's 3.8 ounces. It's really not all that big of a deal. Balance is about right. Balance is actually in a pretty good spot, right there where you're going to put your finger. Okay, I don't think we need to spend too much time there. This is a very simple knife that is doing absolutely nothing new. But that's okay. I still like companies to make generic designs as long as they are, especially in the budget knife world, a good, friendly, generic design is always welcome, even if it's essentially more of the same. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. The nice thing about this, right, I know a lot of us get the urge to complain, especially me being the person who's doing the review, right? A lot of us get the urge to complain and scream, why did you make this? Shh, listen. I'm going to let you in on a secret, okay? You don't have to buy it. You don't have to buy it. Listen, if you wanted to, you could stop looking at it and go do literally anything else if you want to. You have the freedom to do that. I know I just blew a bunch of minds, right? Yeah. I think it's totally fine that we have companies creating more generic designs as long as they are budget friendly and that the price is appropriate. We'll put a pin in that here for a second. This has incredibly generic and straightforward knife profile lines. Honestly, the handle is pretty comfortable, all except for this ridiculous Loch Ness Monster Bill clip. Why companies do this, I'll never know, because you are essentially creating a grappling hook that the first ledge you walk by that's sticking out a little bit too far, it's going to grab this clip and it's going to bend it out, right? This bill serves absolutely no purpose. The bill needs to stop like this so that it is still up and can slide over the seam of your pocket conveniently. But it does not need to be this grabby shape. I have absolutely no idea what the purpose of this is. I am sure that somebody will piece together some ludicrous idea of why that needs to be and leave it in the form of a comment below this video. But I cannot be bothered with it. I cannot and will not be bothered with it. This does not need to be this way. And I have bent out far too many clips for any hypothetical, benefit to outweigh all of those clips. So anyways, yeah, the ergonomic lines are good, right? The edges are chamfered down. We have peel ply texturing, which is fine. We have jimping that extends out to a nice spot on the back of the blade. We have a simple drop point blade. Thumb studs are ever so slightly in the cutting path, but no big deal, right? They're very easy to use, whether you like to do the forward flick or the standard flick with your thumb or do the reverse flick. I can't help but feel like this whole thing would have been a little bit better if they just didn't put the flipper tab on it. Then you could have made more use of this choke up position right here, but they put the flipper tab on it and there's nothing really wrong with that. It can still do what it was designed to do. The cutting edge is not super thin, but relatively thin. It will cut, it will slice, and AUS 10 will do a bleh job of that. It doesn't have amazing edge retention, but it is somewhat balanced, right? Good corrosion resistance, super duper easy to touch up, right? Which is, these are all elements that people who go out and use knives and aren't too concerned with enthusiast elements or anything like that. These are all good elements of a daily user pocket knife, and AUS 10 will serve that purpose, right? So as long as the price on this is reasonable, then we're good, right? As long as they got the price right, because this is a very, very basic pocket knife with very, very basic materials. So the price should reflect that, right? Anyways, moving on here. It does not have a lanyard hole. Oh no. There is a place for you to mount the pocket clip for left-handed carry, so lefties, you can enjoy this too, and I'm sure you're used to it by now, right? Manipulating right-handed liner and frame locks, because that's the vast majority of what's out there. But it's nice that they went ahead and milled the holes for lefty carry, so there you go. You could attach a lanyard to the hole in the pocket clip if you really wanted to, right? So anyways, in and out of the pocket, the bill actually creates a problem because it comes down, then up, then over, and slightly back down again, which is just bizarre to me. In and out of the pocket is kind of a little bit of a frustrating experience because of the angle of that bill. But you'll eventually get it in there. The peel ply texturing might fray up your pocket seam just a little bit, but this knife will attach to your person, and you can remove it from your person the way that you would a pocket knife, right? It's just going to be a little bit of a mess to do that. The stop pin is located in its traditional spot. There's a little bit of shouldering there. No blade play up, down, left, or right. No lock stick. No pivot lash. Very smooth. Kubey does a great action. Clicky detent. No detent lash. and it's actually perfectly centered, right? So this has all of the traits of a good budget knife, right? And by my own definition of budget knife, it is. It is under $75. It's $70. This is a $40 pocket knife max, right? There is nothing special about OS 10. Will it get the job done? Yes. Is it easy to sharpen? Yes. Will it hold a reasonable edge? Yes. Right? Is it reasonably tough? Yes. But so are a million different steels that you can get in the sub $50 territory. We have knives in 14C28N in the sub $50 territory. And, you know, when considering all of these cornerstones, because steel composition is not just like one thing. Like you have to consider all elements, right? And if you're like, well, I don't want to consider all that. Well, listen, even if you are like, what I'm saying is that there's no way to justify that price tag. There are knives that do exactly the same thing as this with superior materials, right? For half the price, literally half the price, right? Why is this $70? Kubey, why are you trying to charge $70 for this? What part of it will be, what, because OS 10? Because OS 10? No. OS 10, there's nothing special about OS 10. I don't know where this came from. Maybe it's because the Demco 80 20.5, which I defended, right? Now, those are made in Taiwan, and they are small batch. But that price was still really difficult to choke down, right? I am so glad that they moved to a different steel. They should have come out with, you know, those in D to begin with. Those were, you know, and that would still be ridiculous, right? I'm so glad that they moved to S35VN because the OS 10A thing was just like a ugh, right? This, considering Kubey's manufacturing capacity output, which is very large, Kubey can make tons and tons and tons of knives. They are not operating. They don't have to be forced into these small batch parameters, right? Where they have to mark them up to, you know, make enough profit to keep going. No, they can operate on volume. There is nothing special about OS 10. It does not belong on a $70 knife. For $70, 154 cm has much better balance and is a much more expensive composition for these companies to purchase from the factories that create them. So yeah, that would be better, right? But it just flat out does not belong on a $70 knife. If you just love OS 10 and you just love this knife and you just love everything about it, then you go ahead and you pay $70 for it. But I have, I don't know, 100 videos of knives that are built the same way with better materials, right? For less. I mean that. I'm not joking. I have over 3,000 uploads on this channel, and I've got at least 100 that are covering knives that are currently available. That are just a better value than this. I don't normally do like super duper negative reviews like this, but it's just like, I don't get it. It's like, listen, if Kubey had brought this to the table and been like, okay, $45, I'd have been like, okay, fair. But 70? I looked all over. Can't find it on, I found that price on Kubey's website. So I looked on Amazon at the time. Now, you know, if you're watching this a year in the future and you can find it on Amazon, okay, then it's available in your time, right? But when I recorded this, and today in my time, I know you're watching it at a later date because these are all pre-recorded. In my time, it's March 3rd. As of March 3rd, the only place to get this was on Kubey's website. It wasn't even at White Mountain. They wanted $70 for it. That is a hard no from me. That makes 0 sense. There is absolutely nothing here that indicates a $70 knife. Not even close. This is just a nothing for me. It's not going to go anywhere. This is just one of those things where it's just a weird anomaly, and I'm just gonna forget about it. But this stuff exists, and it's important for me to do videos like this so that people know. Because I mean, if I just ignore it and I never have anything negative on my channel, then it's just everything's sunshine and rainbows. But I want to point out when companies who make a lot of really, really good stuff, try to slide a stinker through. I don't know what the point of this was, right? I'd almost believe that they were just like, oh yeah, well, I guess we didn't really think about that. We weren't trying to pull a fast one, but we were just like, okay, whatever, 70, just get it out the door, right? That would be believable to me, that they just have other things that they're working on and that they just weren't really thinking when they slapped the $70 price tag on it, right? I don't know. But it's important to point this stuff out, right? When I have it here, especially when it was sent to me for free. This is mine. They gave it to me for free. I didn't have to pay for this. They just sent it to me, right? I got to point this stuff out. So this is a note from me. Still managed to make this a 15-minute video. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.